Finally, I get to interview on Be the Solution podcast Britt McLaughlin. She moves Philly. What Britt doesn't know is over the last, I don't know how many years, decade or so, I watched her behind the scenes and I saw her grow her business. She just told me a story backstage about uh, representing a 250 unit building and doing a couple $1 million in revenue in actually leasing up buildings. So today's going to be a fantastic story of starting from zero, building relationships, and all that happens in between. And so this morning, Britt, welcome to the show, first and foremost.
Thank you so much for having me, Maria. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, excited to talk with you today. And I have a quote for you.
Yeah.
Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you are right.
It's true. I tell my daughter that all the time, to get those that negative mindset out, because if you say you can't, you can't. But if you say you can, you'll get it done. And when she has struggles with things, I always tell her, like, you might not be able to do it yet. You can't do it yet. So that's what I replace that with for her. So I agree wholeheartedly.
It just reminds me of, like, people think when you reach a certain point in your life and in your career that it's easy. And it's not. And unless so we have two choices. We're either growing or, I want to say we're dying, but we're not growing. We're going the opposite direction.
Sure, yeah.
And so when you are growing and you're changing, and as humans, if you're, aware and that's what you're looking to do, as we are, there's challenges that come up. And, one of the things that continues to come up, especially in our industry, is that changes constantly.
Yep.
We're changing, that's changing, the business is changing. So you started in your career. It was interesting. I'd love you to share your story. You were in tech.
Yeah. I started, well, I guess to back up further, my parents have been in real estate for forever. You know my parents a bit, I think. My dad's a builder. My mom was a realtor growing up. So I was exposed to that world, but I didn't get into real estate till later in life. And prior to that, when I got licensed, I was actually in tech. I was director of ops for a SaaS company here in Philadelphia for 5.5 years. And it was interesting because it doesn't seem like an easy transfer to go from that to real estate. But a lot of my position in that role was systems and process. And as you know, you're a systems queen. That's how you build a sustainable, repeatable, expandable or scalable business in real estate, right? Is having those systems and processes in place. So while it wasn't directly related, it definitely helped get that ball rolling for me. And also it helped with the contacts for sure. In the beginning, it was, when you're a little baby real estate agent, you don't know what the heck to do. And a lot of people go after the low hanging fruit. And I'm not the exception. So I started in rentals. But one of the connections I had led me to onboard a large portfolio of about 250 units that needed a lease up. And that's where I cut my teeth. It was, I would say maybe a bit of a whirlwind and a windfall all at the same time. And you were talking about how if we're not changing, if we're not growing and changing, that we're kind of dying. And I had to learn trial by fire, and it was uncomfortable for a very long period of time, but well worth it in the end, I would say.
I would say so.
Yeah.
What did you learn during that experience? I mean, it's a lot. If people don't know, like, what you do, it's a lot. It's a lot of volume. It's a lot of moving pieces, and you're moving fast in the rental world. A lot faster than the sales world.
Yeah, I mean, tenants, you have to think about it. Most tenants don't work with one realtor. They don't hire a realtor, most. That's not the market we have in Philadelphia. Most tenants will call 10, 20, 30 places, and whoever picks up the phone is what they're scheduling. And so it really taught me that like you have to answer your phone, you have to be able to be quick to the draw for talking to people, and you have to have the systems in place to follow up with them, because tenants are like, it's like notorious for just moving on to the next shiny thing, right? The next unit pops up and they're moving over to take a look at it, or they're calling that person. So it's whoever they get in front of first is going to get them closed typically. And so then that means I had to build a very repeatable system so that stuff wouldn't fall through the cracks, so that we could answer the phone quickly, so that people were getting responses very quickly. And that price point that I was in, a lot of people wanted for text. So I set up a ton of back-end automation in my CRM to have these touch points as soon as someone came in. As soon as they came in, the system was sending them a text and an email to pre-qual them, make sure they made sense for the unit or for the building, that they had the right qualifications. And then it was also immediately asking them if they want to schedule a showing. And then it would be following up with them. Usually within 24 hours, they would get a call from me as well. Sometimes I would use some automation for that as well. Maybe like if they weren't picking up, then I would drop a slide dial or something like that on them, so that they would get a double hit. Yeah. So there was just a lot of little tips that I like, a lot of tricks that I threw in to keep pounding them, I guess you would say, to be able to get them to like respond to me, right? Once I had a response from them, I knew I could get them in the door. And as long as they met the qualifications, I knew I could close them. It was just getting them on site. So I would try to set up group showings at the property, and I would try to show, representative units, because we had like 3 different styles. So I would show them 3 representative units and then match them with what was their timeline. So on a lease up, you have a bit more flexibility because you're not waiting for a unit to become available. Everything's available. But yeah, it was those processes and that automation that helped me stay on top of. I mean, sometimes I was getting a week, easy 350 leads a week. So trying to talk to everyone is near impossible, but we were hitting them with automation. So that helped a lot.
3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody who's in this business knows 350 leads a week is absolutely pure insanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're one human.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 50 leads a day.
Again, I wasn't married. I wasn't, taking care of a kid at the time. It was a different time in my life. I had the time to do that, and I didn't have much else going. So I had to build the business some way,
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Man, that's hard work.
It is.
Yeah. I'm going to ask this question. You've been in the business long enough to see what is wrong with everybody in this business. People don't want to do the work. Can you explain it to me?
No, I wish I could. I have the same question you do, but I have some speculations. I think there were some very fat years in real estate for us where clients were just raining from the skies and falling in our lap. And I think people saw that and thought that made real estate easy, and saw the whirlwind that I think other realtors were having. Because some realtors are really great at putting out this, idea of what realtor life is like. And whether it's true or not, it has a good persona. And I think during those years when business came easy, a lot of people got in the business because it seemed easy, and probably had some early success, maybe some uncommon success. And then when the market shifted, they didn't have the skill set to do the work when things were lean and when things were tough. And right, if you haven't built those skills, like you work expired, that's like your bread and butter. Like that's a skill set that a lot of people don't even know how to touch, right? But if you hadn't built that you've been in real estate way longer than I have, and you've gone through way different markets than I have. If you didn't have that business that was like set up and working for you when things got lean, you would have been lost too. I think that's what a lot of people are, is that they're lost. And I think they want the easy button, and that doesn't exist anywhere in life. But for some reason, they think it's here in real estate, and it is not.
No, it's not. In fact, we've had the last several years have been tough. I would say this past 6 months has been tougher than that.
Yeah.
I thought the beginning of the year was pretty good. And then I said come July, things just, it was like, do, 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 do.
Yep. Yeah. Grinding halt. It's kind of just the brakes pumped and everything just pew.
No, and in fact, you talk to clients and it's like, house isn't selling. Well, this house isn't going to sell because there's no showings.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So how do you get showings? And it's not, price is a part of it. It's not the only thing, right?
Sure.
I said there's a liquidity problem.
Mm-hmm.
They may have the down payment, they don't have closing costs, right?
Yep.
Offer buyer closing costs. $15,000 in buyer closing costs is completely different than reducing the price by $15,000.
Completely agree. I think the hard part about that, though, is then the marketing of getting the word out that your seller is offering that $15,000 in
It
closing.
is, and you're right, and that's why I said to them, we still have to make a slight adjustment.
Yeah, yeah, because you need to bump it back up in the search.
You need to do both.
Yep.
Right. So a lot of there's so many other things, but I want to go back to how you got in this business. Why did you get into the business? I knew your family was in the business, but you were successful in tech.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were rocking and rolling in that business.
Yeah.
And what made you make the transition?
I think it was twofold. The company that I was at was phenomenal, but a very flat company. And I didn't think, I hadn't found my passion there. I was good at what I was doing, but there wasn't a lot of upward mobility because it was a flat company. And I wasn't loving what I was doing. I didn't wake up every morning excited to do it. I loved the people I worked with. I liked the tech environment. I liked a lot about it, but just the actual work was not exciting for me anymore. And at the same time, I bought my first house, and I used a family friend who was a realtor. And I think working in tech, you look at things a little bit differently than a lot of people do. Like the company that I was with was really all about the customer experience and making sure that was exceptional. And there was a lot more of like systems and processes and these little touches to make things better, right? And when I bought my house, it was a phenomenal experience. But I thought, hey, I might be able to do this better. I just saw these little pieces where I was like, if I put this there, plug these little ideas I have in there, I think I could do something better and speak to people. I had a huge age gap between myself and the realtor who represented me. And I thought for those younger demographics like myself, that I think I could relate to them a lot better. And one of the biggest things was the education piece. I felt that there were a lot of times throughout the transaction where I didn't understand why we were doing something. And when I would ask, I was told, well, that's just kind of how it's done. Or that's just what we do. Or, it was kind of like not an in-depth explanation. And I am a why person. I want to know why. I don't like doing things for the sake of doing them. I want to know that there's a purpose and a reason behind it. And so that was it. That was really my catalyst, is that I was in this role that I liked well enough. I liked the people, but I didn't like the role. And I bought my first house and was like, I think I can make this a bit of a better experience and relate to people in my age range with education and connection, and not making it feel like it's a transaction, more of a relational experience. So that was the catalyst. And within 6 months, I was licensed. I gave my notice at my job, and I took up bartending again, which I hadn't done in years, just to make sure I could pay my mortgage. And out I went. So
out you went.
Out I went.
Out you went. So a lot of things people don't realize, in real estate, how long do you think it really took you to fully understand the industry and wrap your head around all the things that a real estate agent a realtor needs to know?
Yeah.
And to be able to run at a speed where you're not like falling on the floor daily.
Yeah. I would say I got a bit, I would say lucky, a little lucky, that I had some early on success. But that doesn't mean I knew what I was doing with everything, right? I would say probably by year 3, I didn't feel like I was faking it till I made it. I think those first couple of years, there was just so many things that you don't know. You're drinking from a fire hydrant, trying to figure it out on the fly. And I would say year 3 is where I felt finally like confident, like, okay, I know enough to not feel like I'm fumbling through this. But I'm still learning every single day, right? Like, I don't work in every area of real estate. There are so many different niches you can get into. And I also try to stay in my lane. Occasionally, you'll get these challenges that are outside of your comfort zone. And you have to reach out and talk to someone and say, hey, how have you done this? What's your experience like? How do I approach this? So I think I'm still learning, but at least I'm not fumbling anymore. I think I've gotten it under my belt now.
I always say there's something new to learn every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you figure out where this, it's usually some like crazy title thing.
Oh, I
know. Title's a problem.
Yeah. Title, there's always something new that pops up there. And you're like, I read through that title report and I'm like, I've literally never seen this before. And I have to pick up the phone. I'm like, what is this? Why is this there? Like, how do we get around? Like, what does this mean? But it's a whole nother beast. And there's so many things that pop up and surprises that you're just like, I didn't expect that to come on a transaction, or I don't know. It's when you get so many people involved and different personalities and different thought processes, it's always going to be interesting. So
it's a good word. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good word. So what do you see for today in the marketplace? Like twofold. What do you see from an agent's perspective? Like, if you want to be successful today, like, what do you have to do? Like, what does that look like? Like real raw, like truth. What does it look like?
It isn't the Instagrammable lifestyle, I'll tell you that much. I think it's actually doing the work and really, really, really digging in and understanding your craft. And I think a lot of people, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, get in and just want to hit that easy button. But to be successful in this business, there is no easy button. There is a get up and work every single day at this and be intentional about what you're doing, and really learn the business and build a process and do the work. I don't know how else to say it besides that. It is literally doing the work. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting. It's not, photo shoots every day. It is picking up the phone and talking to people. It is getting in front of people every day. It is following up with your database religiously and having a process behind that. That's not glamorous. I think it's fun because I get to talk to people that I haven't talked to in a bit and keep those relationships going. But it's hard work and you have to do it. That's the bottom line. It's just to work.
Do you have a schedule you follow? Do you have a cadence that you follow daily? Like, I need to touch so many people.
Yeah, I have, I would say I have a schedule, a skeleton of a schedule. And then, how life is and days, I have a kid, so things pop up, but I try to keep the consistency that I have to do, I try to touch 30 people a week in my database, in some fashion, past clients and stuff like that. I try to go on as many listing appointments a week as I can, or I would say a good week, I'm trying to get, a minimum of 3 a week, which maybe isn't a lot to some, but for me, it's a good amount. And then I try to have, at least 1 to 2 buyer consults a week. And that's worked for me. I'm in my business. And then I have a meeting with my admin almost every single day. We're reviewing our transactions that are in the pipeline, things that are under contract, things that are coming down the pipe, listing prep, that kind of stuff. And then I try to get out and network at least once or twice a week. I don't live in the city anymore, so it's a little bit of a challenge now because there's not as much going on here in Bucks County for networking events. But I try to do 1 to 2 networking events a week as well. So
That's, I mean, 1 or 2 networking events a week is pretty good. You know, you
yeah,
have the full plate of business. I used to definitely do a lot more networking
same.
than I do today.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, if you're starting your day at 7:30 and you're going to 7 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
Monday to, well, Friday and a little bit earlier than 7, but
Yep.
yeah, so
Yeah.
long. And you know, I don't take, go to 2-hour lunches anymore. So
No, no. I think
rarely,
that the
rarely.
other thing that's interesting is that everyone wants a work-life balance, and I don't think that's a real thing. Um,
It's
but I
not,
don't. It's
it's not, it's not a
no,
real thing.
no. But you're trading time for money, right? And you have to decide where you are in your life and what matters to you to be able to trade time for money, and that's it. So for me, it's being able to, pick my kid up from school or go to her horse lesson or that kind of, or making sure I'm not working fully for like 1 day a weekend, or something
Yeah,
like that, right? To be able to be there with my family. When I started, that wasn't what I did. I worked literally all the time, right? I worked nights, weekends. It didn't matter. I was always working because I didn't have those things. But now I want to trade time for money for those things. So that's what I do.
right. I'm still trading the time for the money to pay for the horse lesson.
Yes. Well, of course, there has to be a balance so I can afford it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I tell people that I have several new agents right now in my company I'm mentoring. And I say to everybody, I worked 7 days a week for 5 years,
Yep. Same.
you know, and,
Same.
and there's not a lot of people like us that do that, but
No.
that's what success, you really want to be successful in this business. That's what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it takes. In fact, I didn't have the balls, I guess is a good word, to initially quit my job
Yeah.
when I was in radio advertising sales for 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that I was making 100 calls a day trying to get people to sell radio advertising,
Sure.
business owners, right? So I already had the skill set of like, I didn't care if you hung up on me. I've been kicked out of places, like literally kicked out of businesses. Like, so,
Yeah, you
you
had
know,
the thick skin already. It didn't. You were like, whatever.
I was like, whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is easy. Nobody's hanging up on me.
Yeah.
But, I had a good business and I was making good income, in the early 2000s in that career, late
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
And I wanted though something more. And I said, okay, so I did the dual career, real estate and the radio simultaneously for a
Mm-hmm.
year, 11 months. And it was, I didn't know some days, and people have to understand this, right? Where was like I'm driving to a radio client appointment and I'm negotiating an offer. We didn't have smartphones, so there was no
Yeah.
DocuSign. There was, I have to meet you at the office to do the triplicate form,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to rip the forms apart. It was like a nightmare. Considering what we have today,
Sure.
it was.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
I'd always get it's 5 o'clock. The offers are due by 8 p.m. on a Friday night, and I have to drive to Feasterville from the city.
Oh my
Like, you
gosh.
just want to shoot yourself in the head,
Yep. Yeah.
But those things, though, and things like that you had to do somewhere else, like I bartended and I waitressed in
Yeah.
college,
Yeah.
right? And I'm working till 3 a.m. for
Yeah.
tips on a thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
When
So
I
that's what makes you like pretty. So I don't care. People can say whatever they want. I still don't care.
Yeah. No, that's what it gives you, the grit, right? It gives you the toughness, the mental toughness, the fortitude to stick it out when things get tough. And I when I quit my tech job, I told you I took up bartending again. I hadn't bartended in years. But I bartended and I was like, I had this dollar amount in mind and I was like, I'm going to bartend until I'm doing this much in real estate. And then I can comfortably afford to to quit and know my mortgage is going to be paid every month. And I was able to do it in 6 months, which was amazing. But those 2 a.m. nights closing the bar down and like running through my real estate emails, making sure like I'm caught up, I didn't miss anything, so when I got up the next morning, I didn't have this whole headache of stuff to deal with. And you just do it, right? You just do it because that's what you have to do. I think betting on yourself and relying on yourself is something everyone should do, even if you're not going to be in this business. Like, sure, the comfort of showing up to a 9 to 5 is nice, but I think everyone should challenge themselves to build something that they have to rely on themselves 100% for. Because, man, do you find a lot more in your gas tank? You push yourself harder than you ever would in a normal corporate America job, and you learn a lot about yourself and what you're capable of if you do something like that. So I don't know. I loved it. I think it was scary for a bit to leave that cushy job, benefits and all of that, like that was terrifying. But looking back, I think it was the best thing I ever did. So
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And you have to bet on yourself. And, I think, and this is going to be not a popular thing I'm going to say, but I think most people are just living a walking like zombie life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're checking their boxes. That's what I say. Like, they're box checkers. They do the next thing that they think they're supposed to do because that's what they've been told or society tells them, rather than living intentionally and deciding how their life should be and going out and making it that way. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And even myself, like, we're told at a young age, follow the system, be quiet, don't, basically don't think for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like this indoctrination. I don't know. I'm like, maybe I'm a little jaded. I don't believe anything anymore about anything. I think we've been lied to. So, it's like you got to step out of your comfort zone. I wrote a whole post this morning when I got up on Facebook about, stepping out of your comfort zone, doing something that scares you, and people think you, like, there's one day you just arrive, like, oh, I did this, I've arrived. Guess what?
No.
When you get there, you're going to go, where did I arrive to? There's nothing.
Yeah.
So it has to be more, right? It has to be like, be the solution. So be the solution, because you can be your own solution. That's the whole idea of it. What do you be your solution, right? You build relationships. In your case, your relationships from back in the tech world brought you a lot of opportunity in the real estate world.
Absolutely.
And then those people, you rented to them, and then they bought, and now they move up buyers, and then you sell. And but there's no resting on your laurels right now. So what do you think, like, for 2026? What's your people probably, I'm sure they ask you, like they ask me, right, all the time, what's going on in the real estate world? What's going to happen?
It's I just, I wish I had the crystal ball. I think everyone wishes they had a crystal ball. It's hard to know exactly.
Yeah, but we have a feeling. We have a feeling, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's still going to be challenges for buyers. Affordability is still down because interest rates are up, and buyers haven't wrapped their heads around being able to afford that monthly payment or reducing their price point. I think that there has to be a reality check there, whether it's just not your time or you have to decide how to reallocate your funds, because if buying that house is really the goal, then maybe you figure out how to make it work, or you change your price point. For sellers, I think becoming more realistic on pricing, that understanding that affordability is down, buyers don't have the cash to close. I was reading about the scuttlebutt about the 50-year mortgage, and then, well, that's getting scrapped, and now maybe a portable mortgage. And I'm like, a portable mortgage would be a beautiful thing for so many people if they could just move their rate to the next place. If that happens.
So what's the 50 years already getting scratched?
Yeah, I read that this morning, that they're scrapping the 50. I know.
No news yet, Britt. Bring it to us. That's
the 50 is interesting. I think for most people, it does not make sense because, for that monthly savings to be able to get into a house, I don't think is actually making it more affordable. I think for some savvy investors, they would use that as a vehicle to like go invest those extra dollars in something else. But again, if you have that money or you have that ability to do it, why would you need the 50-year mortgage to be able to go invest more? So I don't know. I think it's I don't think it's going to help with affordability, but it's supposedly scrapped, and they're talking about a portable mortgage now, which to me that is something interesting. I have some friends in Europe who are talking about that they have some portable mortgage options, and I'm like, wait, we can just move your 2.5% rate over to your next place, and they're like, yep. So that would help with affordability big time. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
That could change the landscape entirely.
Completely. So if that happens, well, the market's going to go
For
gangbusters.
people that own homes,
mm-hmm.
but not for the renters.
Correct.
Or
yeah.
live with
For first-time buyers, people trying to get into the market, it's not really going to help. But for people who own homes, that's going to shake it up. I think the market would then have a lot more coming on.
Probably a lot of inventory.
It would be a lot of inventory exchanging hands at that point. So
which might drive prices down.
Yeah.
I know so many people that would sell if they if they could get this rate or rates went down. They say the same thing over and over. I'm like, it's 3 years.
Yeah.
Going on more than 3 years.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's interesting. First-time home buyers, we usually sit about 32% of our markets. With first-time buyers, we're down to 21%. That's a significant amount of people. That's a third.
Yeah.
A third less buyers. Liquidity is a huge problem.
Liquidity. And then I would say the properties that are available, a lot have so much deferred maintenance that it's cost prohibitive. Even if they could get their foot in the door, they don't have the funds to be able to upgrade the houses. So I think you kind of have it coming from both sides. So
yeah. Well, they can't buy a house if they have barely any money.
Mm-hmm.
Barely any money to get the house. So they can get the house, but they can't afford to fix the house up. So they can't buy the house.
Correct. Yeah. So
I say
something. Yeah.
Well, it's a price war and a beauty contest. That's something we used to say in 2008, Britt.
Yeah. I like that actually. I always tell people like you're either priced well or you have the Instagrammable house. I guess that's the modern version of that, right? Price versus beauty. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's now though, you really need the combination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Combination to be able to, because sellers, let's face it, they make the most money when it sells fastest.
Correct.
Which people can't grasp this idea.
No.
I don't know how. I'm going to find a way though,
Yeah.
I'm going to find a way, Britt, to get them to grasp it.
Well,
I'm working on it. I have planned. I'm working on it.
Yeah. It's twofold because buyers have also been conditioned to think that the listing price is the starting price. It's the opening bid, right? So if you come out heavy on your list price, you're going to alienate so many buyers off the bat. You won't get people through the door. And buyers, then it sits on market, and then their mentality says, well, what's wrong with this house? And it's like, nothing. They priced it high. Just go look at it. Like it's both sides. We got to shake everyone out of their ideas that it's a starting price point or that sellers need to start high so we have room for negotiation. You're like, no.
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It worked like that. It was able to work like that for a decade.
Sure.
Quite frankly, the pricing was catching up somewhat with itself, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But now it's not good.
No.
We're like in what I would call a stalled market.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So properties will still sell. Mm-hmm. How do you become the one that's sold?
Mm-hmm.
You offer more than everybody else is offering.
Yep. Yeah.
It's to stand out.
Yeah.
And to be that next one that sells.
Mm-hmm. I
Otherwise, you're
agree.
going to be, you know. And I think it comes down to too, you didn't have to have conversations like this in so long
Mm-hmm.
that it's a relearning.
Yeah.
Or even for me, like it's a relearning. Okay, gotta be, I don't say hounding the people, but gotta have the conversation. I hear the same thing. Well, we spent too much on the rehab. I'm like, I understand. You're losing
Yeah.
money. I
Yeah.
made I made mistakes too in my career. I
Yeah.
started a business that I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I
Yeah.
don't sit and complain about it to everybody.
Yeah.
It was my decision.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of people are, it's not like they're going to lose their shirt off of it, but they might not make the same margin that they were hoping to make. There's a bit of a
Oh no,
difference, right?
some people aren't even making a margin.
Mm. So, yeah, well,
They bought
actually, yeah.
Yeah, I have two listings right now that I didn't sell them the listing. They
Mm-hmm.
bought it from a wholesaler, too much money.
Mm-hmm.
They put too much money into it because they didn't realize how much it was going to take. First contractor walked away.
Oh my goodness.
It's a perfect shit store.
Mm-hmm.
And then who's the brunt of it? Who gets the brunt of it?
Well, everyone. I don't think it's a sole person. And buyers do, and the sellers do. It's just everyone's kind of in it, and they don't realize they're in it together.
Yeah, we're in it together. We're in it together. We don't get paid if it doesn't sell.
No, no.
It's a very interesting industry because we could do all the right things, all the work, spend the money,
Yeah.
and no income.
Yep.
Do you ever think about that? Like, I just did all this and I just did all that and I just spent all this and is that
Yes.
ever?
Of
I'm
course.
just asking because it's starting to really bother me. So
Yeah. Well, I think yes, I think it's a yes and yes. I think about that a lot. And I think about it a lot from the perspective of, in combination with everyone trying to ask you for a discount on your commission. And you're just like, I work for free until this closes. And if it doesn't close, I'm out money. I've lost money. This is not right. Like my time, my marketing dollars, whatever I spent for, promotions, all of that stuff I've lost that. And you also want a discount on top of this. And I haven't even made $1 yet. Like that, it's a hard pill to swallow for sure. So
it doesn't feel good.
no.
No, it doesn't feel good. So are you excited for 2026? Are you hesitant? Are you energized?
I have to
Like,
tell you,
where's your head?
I don't dwell on things I can't control. So for me, I'm like, it's another business year. I'm going to get up and work and hustle and grind. And that's it. That's just it. Right. I don't feel, I'm not worried. I would say I'm not like overly optimistic either, but I'm also not dwelling on the fact that there's a big question mark on how next year is going to go. I just, right. Like, I feel like I've built enough of a business that, and I manage my money well. So even if it's a lean year, I'm going to be okay. My business is still going to be standing and I'm still going to show up to work every day. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I tell people this all the time. We have conversations. I said, you are not your business.
Mm-mm.
You are not your business. Not every year is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Some years are going to be harder than others. Some years the market might be hard. You might do amazing.
Yep.
Right? Think. You got to think, okay, where should I spend my time and energy? And it's okay to change
Sure.
where you spend your time and energy.
Sure.
I think that's important. I think to know that also, like you said, we can't control the things we can't control. The only thing we can control is what we're willing to do day in, day out.
Yep.
To be the best. I just want to be a better version of me than I was yesterday.
1% better. That's what I try for every day.
1% better.
Yeah.
Some days I go the opposite direction.
Yes.
Some days I get 5%. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I say they're 1% better.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, so I say, the compound effect. You draw a line, piece of paper. Keep drawing lines. 30 days. You have this many. A year from now, look how far you've come.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I I think we were talking about growing earlier, and like if you're not growing, you're dying. I think when you have these challenging days, weeks, months, years, you're uncomfortable because you're growing. If you're not uncomfortable or you're not feeling like things are challenging, you're probably not challenging yourself and you're not growing. So to me, it's like every day is like, okay, I have these things I got to go do. And then all these other things pop up and you're like, okay, this is not what I planned for myself. And it's a bit uncomfortable, but we're going to push through it and make our way through it. And at the end of the day, I feel proud of the work I did. And as long as I can do that day in and day out, then it will compound, like you said. And I will be in a different place in a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, because I put the work in, and that's it.
Put the work in. I said, what you focus on expands,
Mm-hmm.
and focus is superpower.
Yeah.
So whatever it is you want to do, one thing for sure, you never been to a settlement, in person or virtual, that didn't start with a conversation.
Absolutely.
Knows how many people can you converse with? Who needs your help today? Who just needs somebody to say hi to?
Yep. Yeah.
I have sick clients, not even clients, people I would call, they're in the hospital. I'd make a little note. Let me call him in a month, see how he's doing. Let me call them. They're in a rehab center. People I call, they're still there. I'm like, I might have been the only call I got today.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's about being kind, being a good human. And the rest of it, our rest of it is BS, because we do not do HGTV real estate.
No, we don't. We're in the
No.
trenches, you and me.
In the trenches.
Yeah.
In the trenches. I haven't had a photo shoot in like 10 years. I probably need to have one. Get some new photos and some stuff. But I see all these people have all these photos. I'm like, I have time for this.
I don't know. It's just not. I think it's a type of person. I don't know. It's just not my thing. I'd rather just be, I don't know, in the work than glamorizing it. But teach their own, I guess.
Well, you have to look at really what's behind the scenes, but that's for a topic for a whole nother day.
Absolutely.
But this has been fabulous. You are the solution. You're doing amazing work. You have an amazing business. And, I'm happy we were able to connect in person a few weeks ago, which is what prompted us to have a podcast. So, congratulations on your future and all the work you've done and with your clients, and keep doing She Moves Philly.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Maria.
My pleasure.